Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. In today's clip, I'd like to try to answer a question I get an awful lot this time of year when we're sliding into winter. What's the best case to use for protecting my drone when I travel? Now that's a tricky question to answer because the choice of case is a really personal decision depending on how much stuff you're going to carry with you, if you're going to pack it inside of another bag, or you want to have a case that'll carry everything in one shot. So what I thought I'd do is go through a couple of different options of cases that I use when I fly to give you a feel for what's out there to give you the most flexibility possible. Now I'm going to talk about the Spark specifically in this clip, but I'll do a similar clip for the Mavic and for the Phantom and a couple other drones that I fly as well. So let's start off with the Spark. Now when you bought your Spark, you either bought it as a basic kit or as the Fly More combination. Either way, you got a nice little case that came with it. So you got this styrofoam packing case, which protected the drone during shipping and really gives you a great way to carry that drone around. Now this is a pretty big deal because most other drone companies out there, when you buy their quads, you'll tear open the box, there'll be a lot of plastic and styrofoam inside of it, and you end up with a drone with nothing to protect it. So good on DJI that they're actually building in this nice little case for you. Same thing they did for the Phantom and the same thing they did for the Mavic. And this is a great way to carry it initially. So this case, as you guys know, will hold the drone pretty safely. It'll actually hold up to 2 batteries and 2 sets of propellers. And it'll put it all inside of a nice little case you can take with you and pack away. The challenge with this case is that it's only big enough for the stuff I've mentioned. So if you start adding things to your kit, like accessories, whether they be filters or cables or extra batteries beyond the ones that are in there, it won't fit in the case. So you end up carrying a second bag with all those accessories and stuff in it and be a little bit cumbersome because they get banged around. It'd be nice if they fit inside the case. The other challenge with this case is, even though it works great the day you start with it, over time you're going to bang this thing up. It's the back of your car, it's in another bag that you're carrying around. The styrofoam's going to start to break down, so corners will pop off, the hinge up here may go on you. So it's great to use for a while, but it's not going to be one you're going to use long term. But I will tell you, if it's working for you, stick with it because it came with the quad and it's free, and I always like free. If you're looking for an upgrade on this though, for something a little more durable, maybe a little more flexible, to carry some extra gear, you'd move into something like this guy. Now this is a case that looks very similar to the original case. It's actually a little bit smaller than the case I just showed you, but it carries a lot more gear. The outside of the case is nylon. It's weather resistant. You can get this thing wet, rained on, you can dry it off. It's going to protect your drone pretty well inside there. It's also somewhat crush proof. It is flexible, but it's enough resistance when you pack it inside a suitcase or a backpack. It's not going to allow you to crush anything inside. Now, I've got a couple accessories. I'll explain those in a minute. But inside the case, you can see that you can hold the drone, 2 batteries. You've got space up top here for a bunch of extra stuff. So if you want to carry lenses or cables or extra blades, you can fit them in the top here. Even an extra battery will fit up there. And when you close this, you're not going to crush it. You just have to be careful where you put that stuff up top. But it's a really small, compact way to carry the drone up to 3 batteries, cables, filters, and a bunch of other stuff in one case. And this is tiny, so it'll slide right in a backpack or even in your luggage if you're packing for a longer trip. I want to show you 2 accessories because in addition to the case, there are 2 things I always use before I put the drone away. The first one has to do with protecting the delicate gimbal assembly and the lens up front. Even though the case does a great job of holding that stuff inside there so nothing's going to bang up against that gimbal or the lens, it does bounce around an awful lot when you're packing this thing. So this delicate gimbal assembly can't get damaged by those kind of shocks. So what this gimbal guard does, or gimbal lock does, is it slides over the front of the drone and it holds that gimbal in the perfect position forward. It's not going to let it shake around. And the case is big enough where you can slide it in there with that gimbal guard on. So that's pretty nice. The second thing that worries me a little bit, and I'll show you it here, is these propellers are spinning around inside the case. So even though I can line them up before I close it, when I close the case, if they spin a different direction like that, and I've got something bulky here, I'll crush those propellers. So the second device is what's called a propeller stabilizer, and it snaps on the front of the drone really easy. Just goes over top of these vent holes like that. Then you slide the propellers into these 4 little arms here to cradle them, and that'll hold those propellers in place. So once you put them in those 4 positions, those props aren't moving anywhere. They're staying completely rock solid. And then you can drop this inside the case, and everything fits perfectly. And you're not going to have to worry about those propellers spinning out of control or spinning out of the way. I've got it in backwards. There we go. Much nicer. There you go. And then you can put a bunch of stuff up top here, and it's going to press down, but it's not going to crush those propellers, because the last thing you want to do is have something bulky up here, close it, put it inside of another bag and keep it in there for a couple of hours and find out later that you've bent those propellers when you pull the Spark out and you've got to replace those propellers. So again, it'll hold the battery in the quad, 2 extra batteries, and a bunch of stuff up top. Now, what if you bought the Fly More combination? So you've got your drone tucked away, you've got some accessories in there, everything's great, but you still have this remote. There's no way the remote's going to fit in there along with that quad. So there's a companion case that'll actually hold the remote. Let me pull this guy up real quick. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So Again, these come in a bunch of different colors. I think it's blue, green, red, yellow, black. This one only comes in black, and it's specifically made for the remote controller. Same material, same look and everything. It's just specifically made for the remote. And again, you can drop the remote in here without any issue, but I always like to protect these delicate joysticks. And I've talked about this in clips before. If you were to throw this in the backpack and you got lucky, nothing would happen. But if you threw it in the backpack and something heavy came up against these, they could definitely bend those joysticks or damage the electronics underneath. So I always like to use this joystick protector whenever I put it away. And it just basically slides down over the joysticks and it stays on there based on friction, but it protects those joysticks from moving around. So you can't really do much to those joysticks once it's in there. And this case is designed to actually hold the remote with that joystick protector on, seal it up, and you're off and ready. Now, this is a kit that I use an awful lot. So if I'm going out for a day of travel, that's in the back of my car, just like you see it there. If I'm traveling for a couple of days, I may throw that in my backpack or in my suitcase, and it takes up very little room, almost less room than a pair of shoes, quite honestly, inside of my suitcase. So really great solution. If you're a serious quad flyer, or you've got a lot of extra batteries or a lot of extra accessories, or maybe you're leaving for a longer period of time, you want to put additional equipment in there, there's a larger version of this case which will hold a whole lot more stuff. So let me show you that next. Let me just unzip these guys and get rid of this. All right, the hard case, it's a semi-hard case, allows you to put a lot of extra stuff in there. And again, you can carry this just by the handle, or you can pack this in your suitcase or your backpack as well. Let me show you what comes with this unit. So inside here, you've got laser cut foam in the bottom that'll hold the quad, 2 extra batteries. You can hold the charger up here, a bunch of cables. The remote fits down in here. I've got a cable below it actually. There's the remote. Let me put this drone in here. Drone sits in there and it's nestled nice and deep. The 2 batteries would go in alongside of it like that. Now, one thing I like an awful lot about this case versus the others, and I've got this a little high, so let me actually put it in this way. I'm sorry, put it in this way. Right. Is the drone is down lower than the actual foam, so no matter what I put in the top here, it's not going to push down on top of that drone, and you've got a ton of storage space up top here. So inside here, I've got a lot of stuff in there right now. I've got the propeller guards, I've got some extra cables, I've got a couple of lenses in there, so all that stuff fits up top. You can fit an awful lot up there, and you can actually use these. If you're not bringing your charger, you can put extra batteries in there if you want, or you can put the wall charger over there. So a lot of versatility, a lot of different ways to configure this. Once you close that up, you're good to go. And again, you can pack this in your suitcase if you want for additional protection, or you can just carry it like this. This is what I take when I'm traveling for a couple of days at a time, and it really does give me the peace of mind that I'm going to travel with this drone and not have it be damaged when I'm out there in the field. So a couple of different choices for you to go with. Now, there are some hard cases on the market. I haven't used a hard case with my Spark. I do use hard cases with my Mavic and with my Phantom occasionally, especially if I'm going on an airplane. But I find this semi-hard case or soft case to actually work really well when I'm traveling. I haven't had any damage at all whatsoever with the Spark. But those larger quads like the Mavic and the Phantom really are a little bit more fragile and they're larger. So I do use a hard case sometimes with those, but I don't really have one I use with the Spark yet. So if you're looking for that, I can definitely point you to some of that stuff. I'll put some links below where you can explore it. But my thought is the Spark is designed to be small and portable. And the minute I start adding a large case to it, I'm almost going to be bringing my Mavic along, right? The reason I bought this is to make it nice and small and portable. So I typically use that 2-piece case 95% of the time when I'm out traveling, because that gives me just enough protection without adding a ton of bulk. But if it's going to be a long trip and I'm going to bring 5 or 6 batteries, this is the guy that I go with. So those are just 2 options. And again, I really appreciate you guys watching this channel. I'm hoping you're getting a lot of value out of this stuff. I've got links below if you want to go to our website and support the channel by buying these through us. You can find them on a lot of different websites out there, but again, you'd be helping the channel by buying them from us. So if there are any questions on anything I've covered, maybe I've missed something or you've got additional questions, drop them in the comments below, and I promise to get back to you as quickly as I can. Thanks an awful lot for watching. I've been watching the subscriber count go up dramatically over the last couple of months, and that's really encouraging to us to see new people joining the family with a lot of great questions and a lot of excitement about new flyers out there. So that's a big thing for us. Anyway, that's pretty much it for today. Thanks an awful lot for watching, and until next time, happy flying.